Well, when we hired the inspector, I assumed he would inspect the home, would take care of our best interests, and he didn't do that.
Against code, against code, against code. Very flammable. And this would have went up in no time.
I'm feeling infuriated, and it's just not suitable, and it's not okay.
Nice house. A few problems. Sean, Francesca, and their two beautiful daughters. We're looking for a home on a nice, quiet street with a growing family. They found their dream home right here. They even got a home inspector to verify that there were no major issues with the house. A few things a little sketchy within the report. What did he miss? I'm here to ask questions and get some answers for Sean and Francesca. I'm here to do a homes inspection.
We have been in the area for about 6 years. I'm gonna have some tea. And probably 3 of those years, we were looking for a house. We had a young daughter, and we were expecting our second child, so we really needed the space, and that was what really sped up the process.
We wanted the balcony, the porch. We liked the look of the house and the size of it as well. We liked the fact that this house had an upstairs laundry room, so with a young family, we didn't have to carry the laundry from upstairs to down and over again. And it was just the open concept of the house. It gave us all of the things that we wanted in a larger home.
When we found it, we jumped on it.
Our realtor recommended this home inspector. It was a home inspector she's been using for years. He seemed very nice, very knowledgeable.
On the morning of the inspection, the inspector started at about 9 in the morning, and I'd say he was done before 11. He checked the plugs, he checked, the obvious things, looked at the windows, didn't really open and close the windows or anything like that. He didn't really go like page by page through the inspection with me, just kind of, highlighted some notes. He said that nothing, would deter us from buying the home by any means. He said himself, go ahead, great house, so we felt confident.
The house itself is only about 7 years old, so that kind of put us at ease when we bought the house.
Francesca?
Hi.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sean.
Sean.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm Mike.
How much could really be wrong with a 7-year-old house?
How long you been living here?
8 months.
8 months. I'm gonna have to inspect that hammock on the second floor, there's no doubt, just to make sure it's working properly. I read the report, and I read it thoroughly simply because there was the word serviceable used so many times.
The electrical panel is serviceable. HVAC, furnace, serviceable. AC unit is serviceable.
218 times he used the word serviceable.
Like, it doesn't really specify on any kind of detail of what you actually want to have done to the home, or what might possibly be wrong, or what might need to be fixed. Once I moved into the home, there were things that jumped out at me, like live wires hanging in the basement. So I tacked it up myself so that my daughter couldn't get a hold of it when she was down there playing. And I was kind of dumbfounded that a professional wanted to notice these things.
You have a fake dormer on the roof. Not only is it leaking, so obviously there's condensation buildup on the inside, yes? So more than likely it's not breathing properly. The truth is, it serves no purpose. I'll have to look further into the condensation up there.
So there's so many little things that just started popping up. The faucet was leaking. There was no shutoffs underneath the sink, so I put shutoffs in there. We replaced the faucet in the kitchen. The stove didn't work, the microwave didn't work. I had to completely rebuild a shower from scratch when all he said was, there's a little bit of grout missing. Just replace the grout. And it just seemed like within the first week or so, it just kept getting worse and worse.
So he came in the garage, he took a look, and above the garage door, you can clearly see we have mold growth. You can see that clearly, even your tape is falling off. I have definitely one leak. We have another area that's been obviously touched. Then you have a stain sealer right there. You see that stain sealer? And we use this spray sealer normally on knots for pine. We'll seal it so that when you paint it, nothing bleeds through. But what we're seeing underneath it is mold. So here's one more spot that we're leaking, and I'm gonna assume that this is right underneath the wall of your house. So you have 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots. If we follow over, there is minor signs here, and then we start to see more here. We see mold right there. This is where the wall actually goes up the side of the house. So something's leaking good up there. And the inspector should have actually made notes about it Now you notice that that drywall was replaced at the wall. And that is definitely a replaced piece of drywall. Are you cold upstairs?
No, it's the...
Just in the front room, our eldest daughter's room's cold, but not near this area.
So this side.
yeah, right up where the hammock is.
It's above the playroom, dining room is her room. The second bathroom actually starts back here.
Ah, maybe that's why that drywall was replaced. They had a leak. Let's check out that bathroom. Okay, since I'm here, I just want to see this front bathroom because we're over top of the garage and you told me that it's not cold in here.
No.
Okay, did your home inspector do this?
No.
No.
Yeah, that was easy to do, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And what that does for me is shows me what I can see through the floor. You don't have spray foam. I can't believe you're not freezing up here. I don't see any insulation. Zero. I see nothing. Got me really curious. And if I was the home inspector coming through the house, like, I see no insulation, you need to bring someone in to inspect this. That's when I'm gonna say it. You need this looked at. Let's go look at the laundry room before I leave you. In the report, he said there is no exhaust fan in the laundry room.
Evidently there is.
You didn't put that in, right?
No. It was.
Did this guy go through with really dark sunglasses by chance? It said no exhaust fan in the laundry room. You have an exhaust fan in the laundry room. If you're gonna have it on the second floor, I've checked the codes in this area. You don't need to put a floor drain in the laundry room. But it's the number one spot that's gonna leak is your laundry room. Number one, a heat register in the floor. That's the first spot this water's gonna run and it's gonna pour downstairs like Niagara Falls. Think of how much it's gonna cost you when that floods.
Right.
Right. That's the only reason I wanted the basement. There's a drain in the floor. So you want it here, I'm gonna work with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, and I'll make it right, but I'll bring it back through and show you what I did find and what the hell I have to do to fix it.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm quite worried, actually, what Mike's gonna find, because, I mean, if we're finding the quite obvious things,
That's not a good sign.
once he starts opening up walls, it could be, you know, far worse than we could ever imagine.
Holy cow.
Even though the house is beautiful and it looked great and everything else, I didn't want to be here anymore because there's so many things that just kept coming up. It wears on you after a while when it's like one little thing after another, and especially when you ask somebody to look at these things to make sure that these things aren't going to happen. And they did.
This is a busy street. Neighbors across the way are building a deck. I'm noticing all kinds of work happening. All right. A couple of smart things, gloves, eyeglasses. Actually made too much of a mess of this, just, ooh. That's definitely been wet. So this is a replacement piece. We can see that it's not only molded on the bottom side, but it is on the opposite side. So this is a small amount of mold. This is the things that we need to be concerned about. That's not a good sign. I have surface mold right here. It's on this side. What's on the other side? What's on the top side where it's going to be more wet than it is here? It's allowed to dry here because that air dissipates the water. But where it stays wet is going to mold more. That's why we see more mold on the back of the drywall than we do on this side. Ass backwards. So what they've done is they vapor buried this side of it. So remember, rule of thumb is I don't like vapor barrier, but it goes on the warm side. In this case, it's on the cold side. Not good. Will create even more condensation. We have upstairs from this, the bathroom. The register's approximately here. We had a bathtub right here. Is it wise to put a bathroom over top of the garage? Bathroom and laundry room further back? Yes and no. I mean, I say yes because if it ever floods, it floods into the garage and not anywhere else in the house. That's the bonus here that I kind of like. The no part is that if it gets freezing cold in here and freezing cold up there, what do you have in there? Plumbing. So it's gonna break. As I walk throughout this house, almost every single floor register I looked at was not in front of the window. Now, am I being too picky? I don't think so, because I know it's supposed to go here. The reason we do this is because the glass itself is only about an R1 if you're lucky. It's usually under that, when we have an R20 in the wall. So this is going to be a cold penetrating point. If we have the register in front of the window, it blows that hot air up in front of the window and it stops the condensating on the glass. But why the hell do it here? Sloppiness. Okay, so it's actually sucking something. It's not the best exhaust fan, but it is taking it out, and I like that. This bathroom's great. It's a nice size. It's in the perfect location in between the first floor and the basement. Really like that. Not too often I actually see the drain by the furnace. And I even have a drip line in the floor. So that drip line in the floor, you see that drip line right there? There's two of them. Where are you? I know you're there. That drip line in the floor is supposed to be for the furnace. That way it's not running on top and rusting out that grill. Look how rusty that is. And where is that? There it is right there. There it is. Now, had they have taken this, see this drip line here, and run that right into here, that would eliminate this. Minor, not intelligent. Ooh, boy, is that ever bad. Both of them, holy cow. I'm just taking a picture so I can put it in a report for the homeowners. Real simple. I have one round pipe, I have another round pipe. They're supposed to be touching. It's doing this. So you have major bleeding. If we see a lot of this throughout the house, we're gonna have quite the imbalance of putting air to where it's supposed to go, especially in the winter. That we're not having that warm air to an area that needs it, such as the kids' room. I'm just gonna place down my CFM reading. It gives me cubic feet per minute. What I love about this is not only does it read the temperature of the air, I'm also looking at airflow. So unfortunately, throughout the house, I've noticed that in the dining room downstairs, the kids' toy are covering a register. Both of them in the master bedroom, the curtains were covering the register. If you cover the registers, you're not gonna allow the airflow. It just blows into the curtain. It doesn't heat or cool the air than when you want it. Don't block off your registers in summer and winter, and don't block off your air return ever, because we need to pull that air to create a cycle of airflow. We have not bad insulation here. Roof vents look good. Everything else looks good. Looks like I have very sufficient airflow. I cannot see the exhaust from the dryer. I can see this exhaust that comes up and comes across the top of the insulation and goes out to the north wall, and it's been insulated, so all that's done properly. What I cannot see is where that dryer's run. So the homeowner told me that he could feel that dryer line goes in the wall behind here. Now, I thought it went up, but I'm seeing nothing in the attic. So that tells me it goes down, because he said he could feel hot air blowing through the wall where the plumbing goes into the wall. He could also feel the floor. So I'm exhausting into the ceiling of the garage with no exit. Another reason I'm gonna pull the ceiling. Nice house, few problems. So I'm having a lot of leakage. I also cannot find yet the exhaust line from the dryer out. We will be damn near gutting the garage. So let's, gloves, suits, ladders, you name it, we're gonna need it.
All right.
The house looks beautiful. It's got great curb appeal, but there's so many other little things that are wrong. And then Mike comes in and he starts pointing out so many more things. You know, you're laughing and you're kind of fighting back tears as he's telling you all these things.
So we're gonna move everything downstairs into the basement.
Yep.
And today, we're only gonna take down the walls that are tied into the house. We're gonna take down the ceiling.
Okay.
I'm looking for the mysterious exhaust line from the dryer upstairs that seems to go nowhere.
Yep.
I think we're gonna surprise the homeowners by taking apart and moving a bunch of things they own.
Yeah, they were a little nervous this morning, by the way.
They should be. We're just beginning.
We're about to operate. Do you guys want a hand with that? Okay, now you can take it out.
Good job.
Look at that, days to put up, seconds to take down, eh, guys?
Heads up. Oh, that's coming down way too easy.
Atta boys. That's mold.
Here's our bad insulation, right? And by code, our vapor barrier, which we see here, is on the warm side, so it's on the inside. If I have plumbing in here, by code, that vapor barrier must come around, same as the HVAC. That vapor barrier must come around with the insulation here, must come around and blanket that and keep the ductwork on the warm side. Same thing as the plumbing, because it can freeze. This is a cold zone. Very sloppy connection. Nobody gives a crap anymore because it's allowed to bleed 15% into the house. And that's what they say. Oh, it's okay, it's gonna bleed into the house. Well, where the hell's it bleeding? It's bleeding in the void. It's not actually getting into the house. But if we tape that off and seal it, it's gonna push the air that needs to go there. We're not even doing minimum code. We're doing sloppy. Unacceptable. The house is 7 years old. We have leaking everywhere. We're gonna have to do a comb from the outside. See where the water's coming in.
You can't really see much from here without getting on it, so. We have a lack of slope in the eaves trough. With the lack of slope, this eaves is filling up very fast. We're getting some spillover. We're getting leakage behind the eaves, on the face of the eaves. You can see a lot of water staining. This downpipe is then collecting that water, bringing it down onto this lower roof, where we can see a lot of premature wear in the shingles in this area. Really, this downpipe should be continued all the way down to the lower eave to minimize any wear here. We also have a leak below that could be this could be the source of that leak, is having all this concentrated waterfall onto the roof. You can see below the shingle we've got signs of dirt. This is where water is tracked into the shingle. You can see a bump in this area, some rusted nails. So, you know, we've got water entering this area. So not only premature wear, but potential leaks. So we've got some thin craft paper here. We'd like to see Typar or Tyvek, house type wrap. Doesn't seem to be any moisture getting to that area. Looks like most of the water staining here is coming up and over the eaves troughs. So it doesn't look like any water's getting behind the wall in this area.
Because the homeowners are talking about it being cold in, we'll call it their older daughter room. She's still a baby to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it has a lot to do with the ductwork. As I looked at the breaks that we had downstairs, I've looked at a huge amount of connections, looking at the garage.
From what I've seen all the way through the whole house, it needs more air on the second floor. So the whole system has to get balanced completely, especially this room, because you have 3 complete outside walls. We only have 1 register in this room, and that's probably why this is probably the warmest room and the coldest room in the summer and the winter. The biggest issue is trying to push the air where we actually need it.
Which would explain me taping ductwork and making
Yes.
sure we put it in the direction and change minimum code on this.
Yep.
Okay, this is becoming a house of missing vents. I asked you to check out the vent for the stove. What'd you find?
So I had this running, and I actually located it underneath the siding.
Where?
Straight ahead, right out this patio door.
Okay, turn her on. Look at that, see it. You know what the issue is here? I don't think they cut that open because it's near an open door. So if the door opens, the vent's on, and sucking it out, it's gonna bring it right back in again. Yeah. So out of sight, out of mind? Great, this is gonna be a wonderful fix. In a kitchen, I'd prefer not to do bulkheads, but since we have to do the exhaust fan run outside, we got a bulkhead.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Here it comes.
Oh, geez, Mike, were these lines always like this?
Yes, what we have. You're gonna love this. How many times do we see this where they lower the ceiling, trying to make that a warm zone? Air return, hot.
You gotta be joking. They're
So-
trying to circulate it within the void.
Absolutely, yes. Because if you're gonna blow hot air in, you know, how many times have I talked about it all the time? Blowing a bottle, you can't. They want to recycle it back. What's the problem with recycling it back? There's a bunch of cracks, there's a bunch of holes, and we have the air return up above the ceiling. That's just gonna pull the off-gassing, which is the carbon monoxide from the cars, to the furnace, back into the house. And that's not good. Well, I'm gonna let the home inspector off on this. It's not like he can see through the walls, but I am gonna fix the heat runs on it and the air returns, insulate it properly, and make it warm and safe up there.
It's a lot of leaking, eh, man?
There's a lot of leaking. This is a brand new home. Do you believe this?
7 years old.
Like, it's so moist here that we can see it's rusting the beam. Yeah, it's completely rusted. Let's follow the puck. Look at this here. It's all wet, even in the beam here.
Like that there is a fresh leak to me.
Look at how black that insulation is. So that's air movement, right? Now let's follow across. What do we see here? Why do we have so much water coming right across? See this line that follows? If we look up at the plastic, we can see it's been so wet, it's actually almost misting, right? Look at the white on top of the plastic. If we come over to here, we can see through the plastic to the floor joists, right? Come back to here, we can't see through it. Why? Well, there's something missing in the equation here. I haven't found the exhaust to the dryer yet. What about lint? What color's lint?
Oh my God, you think that's where it's coming in?
I think the dryer vent is right in this floor here. I think it has been exhausting so much moisture. Imagine 7 years of moisture in this area. I can't even see through it because lint's on the plastic. And I'm actually just gonna wear my mask. It's not dangerous, just a crap load of lint. Now look at the blanket of lint. That's a whole lot of lint. So, where's the break? And there it is right there. So what we have is a disconnect. It's actually a break in the elbow. And what it means is every time that dryer is being used, it's just blowing everything down here and filling the whole area with moisture. So all the floor joists are getting wet. So this is not a real hazard for me to breathe in, but what the hazard is a fire hazard. Here's my big worry on the top side where all this lint is blowing in. We had a hot pot light. Look at the lint around the pot light. There's our igniter right there. Is that little tiny pot light right where all the lint is. Get it. So, do you think that's flammable? It sure is. Add that with the plastic and we got just a total ignition of this thing would light up like that. That's pretty sucky.
You can see why Mike wanted to check this. Oh my God. I'd say there's a bit of a leak in the pipe. Here it comes, Sheriff. Let's clean this so let's vacuum it all out, get it away from the electrical, and just do a really good cleanup on the whole thing, okay? Hey, Sheriff.
Voila. It's gutted. Let's look up for a second. See, that's your dryer line.
It's not even attached.
So all this time you've been here, this has been blowing so much for so long that all that hot, humid air, it created moisture. This was so saturated with lint. How much do you think lint is fireproof?
Very flammable.
Pretty flammable, pretty flammable. Very flammable.
Like that is just negligent.
You're just so lucky you didn't have a fire. You have no idea.
To think that there was that kind of a fire hazard in the house, I'm completely furious. I'm at a loss.
Something else that drives me insane and the builders are getting away with. They were tired of homeowners like you calling up and going, dude, it's freezing in the room above my garage. This is a cold zone. This is not a heated area. So that area they're trying to keep warm. They lower the ceiling, and then they blow in a heat line, and they put in an air return. So that would explain why your floor was warm, not to mention you had a dryer that was overheating the area. However, what's the problem about putting in a line exhausted from the furnace as well as sucking it back in again? What do you park in here?
Vehicles.
Cars.
And what will an air
Seal.
return do?
Oh my
Seal.
God.
It'll pull it back into the house. Any questions?
No.
No, just a little bit shocked. A lot shocked.
We're both paramedics. We know how dangerous CO is. Babies breathe a lot faster than adults. So if there's that CO in our house, I mean, they're breathing in twice as much as we are. It's probably worse than the fire because it's silent. You can't see it. You don't know what's going to happen.
So quick update, we are broken here from the exhaust, from the laundry room that's right here. Its actual run came through the wall, down through the floor, elbowed, brought over, continued out here, and then travels another 16 feet to the outside wall. Does anybody think there's an issue with that long of a run from the dryer?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. Why didn't they go right up through the roof?
No
right?
kidding.
Right up through the roof. Solves all problems. Right now, let's quickly set up. What I want to do is, because now I want to find out where this water's coming from. So go up on the roof, get your safety lines, everything you need.
Yep.
I want to get the water hose. Just put it in the downspout, let it go. You got to think of it driving rain. It rains, it rains, it rains. Finally, it's going to soak through. It's going to penetrate and drip, just like a leaky tub. You got to wait.
Has it been 5 minutes yet, Holmes?
Keep going. Take your time, have patience. I have a funny feeling we're going to be doing a lot of water tests on this house.
Homer, it's got to be 5 minutes, bud.
Why, you getting tired?
I'm getting old up here. Weather. What weather? I am the weather.
Okay, where does water start? At the top.
Yeah.
Hit the top.
Do you see anything coming in yet?
No, when it comes in a large amount. We did all our water tests. I mean, we soaked the roof. Right now, I know it's not leaking from there. All right. I'm starting to think this has nothing to do with the siding and nothing to do with the shingles, because we watered the hell out of it. Let's do one last test. Let's open up a window on that one of the walls on the outside. So I want to see an exposed window. All right, just make sure we keep it clean.
Absolutely, man.
What I want to see is underneath the window more than anything, because this window here has all that flashing that I'm slightly concerned about. I'm feeling better now that we've done the water tests.
I don't see any air movement. I don't see any mold yet, which is a good sign.
I don't see anything. It's awesome. I'm happy. It's a shame we had to cut this open. As far as I'm concerned, this eliminates anything to do with the siding. It doesn't appear to be leaking.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Am I lifting all the weight? Putting a laundry room on the second floor is never, ever a good idea. But the homeowners really want it here. They have 2 kids. It's easier for them. Almost there.
I think I'm losing circulation in my fingers.
It feels like we just walked around the block with this thing.
It feels like it, doesn't it? Put it down.
What we're doing is we're just cleaning out this room. I know Martin and me have to take a look at whether or not we can actually run a drain in this. I know that Gary has to move that vent up into the wall if we're gonna do any kind of drain system here.
Oh, yeah, watch that noggin.
Okay. I want the room emptied so we can take a good look at it, because I know eventually I'm ripping up these tiles. This right here is where the laundry room is, okay? The door is there. Now we have the washer right there and the dryer right there.
The floor drain is going to be a 2-inch diameter. The vent's going to be 1.5 inches.
Right.
So it's just a matter of literally figuring out, trying to determine what would be the best, most convenient access to connect to the rest of the system. I'm roughing in my 2-inch floor drain right now for the laundry room that's going to be on the second floor. I got a stack that's in a pretty convenient location, so I'm branching off with my line, and I'm going to come around the corner here and then install my trap, as well as my trap seal primer, which is required for the floor drain. My last pieces for craftsmanship. What I've done is the trap obviously is in between the floor joists down below, and then the vent for that particular floor drain for that trap comes off, and then I have to bring it into this area, into this room, and then reconnect it to the vent stack. So everything is to code, everything will be working perfectly fine. It's good to go.
It was funny, when we took down this plastic, what I wanted to do was actually have the HVAC and the plumbers be able to get a better look in here and actually see what was going on. But lo and behold, it was actually for me too, because I was able to see that the toilet flange on the second floor washroom is actually leaking. So what I'm gonna have to do is actually block it so that Mark can screw that toilet back in, get it back down onto solid so the gas gets that waterproof seal around the inside of the toilet so that no more water leaks out and causes any more rot and not hitting the drywall, causing that to mold. Just so many issues in this one little area. Created the mold, created all kinds of issues that we are actually gonna fix.
Perfect.
Well, it's not plexi. So this dormer serves absolutely no purpose, and the homeowners aren't big fans of it anyway. I'm gonna need a Sawzall, guys. Mike does feel like at some point this will become a source of water leakage, so we might as well get rid of it. Mr. Holmes, I do see signs of water, and it's quite a bit.
Yeah, I love this place. It's starting to give me a headache.
Oh, yeah! Oh, you bully! Look what he just did!
Hey, make sure you do your laundry.
Well, it's a good day for this, bud. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, though, so I really want to get going on this. So let's take it off carefully. We'll start with the shingles, start ripping off the roof, take the sides down, the front face, the whole bit. Mike wants it down, so off with its head. Everyone away from the bottom, please. Okay, it's heavy, buddy. You got it, muscles? It's all that testosterone at your age. In order for us to finish the laundry room, we need to get that dryer vent run properly. Now, there was a break in the line, and it was allowing all kinds of moisture to escape, as well as dryer lids. Not only that, the run was way too long. We're gonna run it in through the attic, out through the side of the house, closest to the dryer. We're gonna make it right. So basically right now what we're doing is we're putting some modified thin set down to the OSB. We're gonna lay down the Detra on top of that, and then we're gonna start laying our tile. We're pretending that this is a shower pan. So what we've done is we put a knee wall up, not allowing the water to penetrate outside of the room to ruin the hardwood, the drywall underneath. So it's completely 100% waterproof. And for the water to escape, we have a drain here, so it'll never actually overflow. So the water's gonna contain itself inside this area and not leak out.
Right now, I got the guys getting ready to prep. We get the floors covered, we do up all the doors, make sure we do a good, clean job. The benefits of the wall-tight eco is that it gets into all the nooks and crannies and makes a complete seal. You put bats in, you always have little spots where air leakage does happen and it occurs all the time. Insulating the garage itself. On the exterior walls, prevents any of the cold air from getting in, and the ceiling, it stops gases and cold air from getting into any areas. It makes a perfect seal and prevents all that from happening. With a case like this, what we're doing is leaving the vapor barrier on. The guys can spray foam on top of it. That way, in the future, if the homeowner has to change any of the drywall or replace it, has a hole or something like that, it can be done without losing the value of the insulation that's in behind it.
Funny enough, the builder did run a vent for the range. He ran it out to the wall, created a hole for it. Then someone came along, tie part over it, and then they ran siding over it. It never vented outside, so we had to cap it. We re-ran it, put it into a bulkhead, ran it out the side of the house where it should be. You don't want it over a door. And what I want to do, really, is close off the hole to the outside. We don't want insects, mice, anything getting back in. So I want to put a piece of plywood, insulate it, vapor barrier it, close it off to the outside.
Well, we just removed the spiking ferrules because they often come loose with the expansion of the wood in the winter. We're replacing them with brackets and screws. We're also resloping the trough, so we'll have better slope to the downpipe here. We're gonna put on a bigger downpipe to allow more water to get down off the roof.
So you're gonna put a vent in for me today?
Vent and a little bit of shingling.
Yeah, because now that we've closed that area off, it's an actual attic now, isn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna treat it as an attic. Getting a roof vent in there for exhausting any air,
Yeah.
just to vent it like a traditional attic space.
Absolutely.
These are very rusty nails that I'm pulling out, obviously showing that water's gotten to them. We're gonna extend this downpipe so the water actually flows down to the lower trough to get the all that extra concentrated water off this area.
You ready, boys? Let's knock the rest of this off. So we have everyone pitching in today. We've got mudding, we've got grouting going in. Everyone's tying up all the little loose ends, and it looks like we're gonna actually make it on time. It's really nice to be able to get the homeowners back to a nice, safe environment. It means we've done our job.
We basically tried to balance everything off, so everything should be pretty close. We've sealed up the duct in the basement, changed some heating runs, increased the airflow. We've tried to equal out the rest of the house. This one originally was too high, and throughout the rest of the house there was some low spots. So we've balanced the system out, bringing this one down to compensate for some of the rest of the rooms in the house that were low.
So I'm installing this last piece. This is a drain for the washing machine, and the good thing about this actually is there's a clamp that I'm installing which will hold the washing machine hose very tightly, and it will prevent any accidental slip and potential flooding of the laundry room. So additional safety device that will actually protect the homeowner.
Well, when we hired the inspector, I assumed he would inspect the home and take care of our own best interests. And he didn't do that.
I'm really bent on the serviceable thing. 218 times he used the word serviceable.
It's relieving knowing that it's going to be done right. And you know Mike and his team are going to make it right, and they're going to fix things the way they're supposed to be fixed.
Hi.
Well, long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, it has been for me. I think you're seeing him every day.
No,
we
we
didn't
peek.
peek at all.
It was hard. It was really hard living here and not
Yeah.
peeking.
We're gonna start outside simply because I want to tell you about a lot of things we did here. You can see there's no more dormer. It's gone, right?
The pimple got popped.
The pimple got popped. Well, the problem with it is that they didn't have it vented, right? So when you put that dormer on top, and it's just going to take the heat from the attic and bring it into there. That's why you had so much condensation in the window. Everything's now done, insulated properly, closed off.
I don't miss the dormer. I actually like the house without it.
Yeah.
It didn't really do much for it now that I think back. I
No.
like it without the dormer.
So we have bigger downspouts, while making sure that the downspout just doesn't drip onto the roof, it actually goes down to the eavesdrop, right? These are corners that are cut that end up being a problem for you.
When they first came in, they kind of had an idea of what the costs were going to be. I mean, there's no way we could have come up with that cost. We just bought the house.
We win the Mike Holmes lottery.
Yeah, actually, it feels like you're winning the lottery.
I don't mind the bulkheads. I don't mind them at all. I'm not a big fan in the kitchen, but you have tall uppers. And with tall uppers, it really works with the bulkhead, giving you the new lights that you wanted, right? One over the island, which is beautiful, and the pot light there. Why did we have to do it? Because they came up, you remember, right across the ceiling and did not exhaust it outside because they never would have been passed had an inspector come in. We're gonna drive it that way. It's exactly what we did.
It looks good. It looks like it was always there.
It does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
That's, yes.
You did a great job.
I like that. I'm a happy camper. These guys did good work. Let's show you the garage.
Okay.
Come on in.
Can't believe your house didn't burn down. I'm glad it didn't. I really am.
Me too.
I'm glad it didn't. But these are the things, how does a fire start? Making sure that the two lights that we had, the pot lights in the wall here that are in your hanging area in the hallway, making sure that that cannot spark, making sure now that it's ducted out this way for your dryer and not going through the long path with a broken line. We're safe. We're not going to allow any carbons from the car, so any off-gassing from the cars are getting into your kids' rooms or into the, because we had too many spaces here that they could get in, not to mention the freezing cold. So I'm really happy with what we've done right now, making everything nice and warm, making sure that the gases don't get in your house, and it's fairly clean.
Well, the other problem was there was a leak here. It was the toilet. And actually the flange was loose, so it was continuously leaking for a long, long time. So Martin had to fix that as well.
The toilet leaking was kind of
That's
another
a
surprise today.
Yeah.
It's kind of a gross surprise, but it was a surprise nonetheless.
Surprise, I'm glad I didn't find.
Yeah.
Now we've seen it from underneath. Let's go show you the laundry room.
Oh.
The tile in the laundry room is beautiful. I mean, it almost shows up the rest of the house. I'm going to start pulling out tile in some of the spare bathrooms and maybe some of the rest of the house to try to match that tile with the rest of it.
All right, I'm going to explain this. One is to open up the wall to make sure we get all our ductwork run, our plumbing. If you notice now, we have a clamp from your discharge hose to the drainage, because that's a #1 spot besides your pipes breaking of it ejecting water back out. So you have a lint trap now, which now that's the area to clean. That's where we're gonna collect all our lint. That's what you clean, plus your dryer, right? So you're not gonna see it in an attic, you're not gonna see it in the floor, you're not gonna see it where it's not supposed to be. If you notice also, we have the register up into the wall. Where was it before?
Right over on the floor.
That's correct. And if it's in the floor, it's the first spot the water's gonna go to, right?
Nice and tight to this edge.
We make sure we do a watertight floor, so you have new tiles.
Awesome.
Nice tiles. Now this watertight floor isn't just the floor, it actually curbs up into the wall. You want to make sure you have a washer and dryer up here. Damon wants to make sure that water, if it ever gets out, we do have a drain, but a flood is a flood. Doesn't get to the wood here, doesn't get to the walls downstairs. This is the room we want to make watertight for you. It should be downstairs in the basement. But I get the convenience of kids and having it here, and let me guess, you're probably doing washing almost every day?
Every single night. I'm gonna say the house has been serviced. It's no longer serviceable.
It's no longer serviceable. The house isn't serviceable.
Yeah.
Well, hello, what do we got, a party? Hi, sweetie, hi.
Is that your cake?
That's a cake?
Yeah. Everything's edible except for the lid.
Wow. I think I made a hole in your room under the window. We made a mess here. We built a new bulkhead right up here. See? Give me 5. Give me 5.
The inspector came in and took about 3 hours, walked through the house.
And he didn't notice this?
He didn't mention it at all.
Really? That is an absolute no-no. You're talking 6-8 inches of water.
Yeah.
Until it went out the back door.
Ooh, geez, what a mess.
I was expecting the inspector to pretty much pull all the major issues out for me. I wasn't expecting all that to be missed.
And when they miss the obvious problems, I have a little worry already. Dan, he's a young guy, 25 years old, looking for his first home. Looks for an area that's affordable, small, townhouse. Truth is, he liked the place. He loves the basement. It's open concept. It totally works for him. The idea is that he can fix it up along the way. He brings in a home inspector. A few things a little sketchy within the report. What did he miss? I'm here to ask questions and get some answers for Dan. I'm here to do a homes inspection, and I'm gonna make it right.
I came here looking for the house with my fiance, and we walked through this house, and honestly, out of the 20 houses we've seen already, this one was just like an instant connect for both of us. We love the layout. I mean, it's a small house, but it doesn't feel like a small house. I wanted something that had a garage, at least 2-car driveway, and a backyard. We got past the ugly paint that was on the walls, and we decided, hey, this is the place for us. The inspector came in and took about 3 hours, walked through the house, and showed me a few things. He made it clear this is what he does for a living, and exclusively what he does for a living is home inspections, so I didn't really question his qualifications. That, and he came right from my realtor, who I trusted quite a bit. He noted that the bathroom could last a year. Funny thing is, 2 days after we moved in, and I went to change the shower head, the wall fell down. And being my first major renovation, it's still not quite done, about 7 months later. It took only about 2 weeks for things to start going downhill in the house. And it was just one thing right after the other. It's the time more than anything that's really killing me, because I miss having a social life.
You must be Dan.
That's me.
How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming.
Hot day. So when'd you buy this?
I bought it in September.
Built in 1979, correct?
You got it.
Okay, and it sounds like you're having all kinds of problems.
Yeah, everything from temperature issues to sewage backups.
Well, that stinks. Let's take a look.
I was expecting the inspector to pretty much pull all the major issues out for me. Bottom line, if he did his job right, I probably wouldn't have bought the house.
Nothing about this was in the report. So our corner bead has really deteriorated because we see all the signs of the rust right across the bottom. So that means we've had a lot of leakage and we have a lot of mold. If you see mold build up on this side, imagine what it looks like on the other side.
Yeah, I'm worried about opening that up.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't touch it. You have to be careful with mold. If you touch it, you can actually put the spores in the air and then you're gonna be breathing them in. Was that accessible?
There was just a motorcycle across the bottom here, and you could clearly see that this was on the wall here.
You're not allowed to put a vent in the garage. Your car can come in, and what happens when you have off-gassing from the vehicle?
Goes
right into the house.
Exactly.
That is an absolute no-no.
I didn't know it was a problem.
That's why you hired a home inspector.
That's right.
You're not supposed to know everything. So let me guess, you looked at the listing, you wanted the area, you said, okay, I want the house, so you put the offer in based on an inspection, then you got a home inspector, right? So I always say get the home inspector before you look for a house so you find the right person. You know, I don't want to say he's the wrong person, but I am here, aren't I? Let's go inside and take a look if you don't mind. It looks pretty good from here. Bathroom?
It is.
Noisy fan?
Absolutely.
It's pretty dark. You had a lot of smokers in the house. Did you know that?
They did smoke, yes.
That's definite. Nicotine. Absolute major signs of nicotine. Closet? What's this? Oh,
This
garage.
is a garage.
Oh, nice rail. This wasn't like this, was it?
Not like that severe, but it was certainly loose, and there was some broken pieces.
That is in really rough shape. And he didn't notice this?
He didn't mention it at all.
Really? That sucks. Now, I definitely feel a heat change. This is hot. This is your freezing cold closet?
Well, right now it's going to be a sauna, as it is the middle of summer.
I don't like closets on an outside wall for many reasons. One, it's going to be hot in the summer. Two, it's going to be freezing in the winter, and I'm sure you have experienced that. You just told me the sauna.
The inspector missed quite a bit. Upstairs, the air conditioning was on that day, but we walked upstairs into the bedroom, and the closet was significantly warmer. I mean, we're talking 15 degrees difference, and he didn't note that at all. And it turns out in the wintertime, it's much worse. I'd actually have frozen pairs of jeans.
It's just bad design. Keep the closet on an interior wall. Why? Because there's no heat in here, and the reason there's no heat in here, it's based on square footage when it comes to heat runs, heat calculations. If it's under a certain square footage, it doesn't need a heat register. Okay, but it's on the outside wall. You got a solid core door. It does no venting, no louver doors, so we have air in there. No air movement into the closet. It's going to be very cold. Okay, there's your access to the attic right there. I saw in the report he did take a picture inside the attic. It looks like he did not go in. It looks like the picture was taken from the ladder.
Yeah, he literally just went up on the ladder, stuck his hands up there, and took a few pictures.
Stuck his hands up there?
Yeah.
That's what is supposed to be in a report. What's the insulation in the attic? What's the condition of the roof? Are there any signs of moisture? Is there possibly any mold in the house? Well, I saw mold in your garage. Now I'm worried about your attic. Now I'm worried about your closet. And these are things I know. I can walk in and say, look, man, you're gonna have problems here. You're gonna have problems up there. This is why, if you bring in the wrong home inspector that cannot explain that, you're in trouble. I like your bathroom sign.
Everyone loves that thing.
Yeah, his and hers. I like that. Very nice. Let's go upstairs now. How many square feet is this?
Roughly 1,300.
2 bedrooms upstairs, 1 bed, so 3 bedroom total. They are old windows. So the wood hasn't even been addressed in years.
This was actually one I fell through because when I was up on the roof trying to figure out why water was going through some of the soffit in the backyard, I actually put my arm against the window and I went right through the window into the office, landed on my back, just like.
Oh, no way. So you were outside leaning against the window.
I just literally had
Did it break
just
the
like
glass?
this. No, the glass was fine and everything.
It just fell out.
You can see like the plastic trim is holding it in place is actually broken.
This window has absolute 0 R value. These are old windows. These are over 30 years old, original windows. We can see it's falling apart. We can tell by looking at it. Now, in his report, he said a little bit of paint and caulking, and you're gonna save some money. I would have said you need a new window. Where was the drain that flooded?
The drain's over here. 2 weeks after we moved in, while I was at work, my girlfriend called me and said, hey, basement's full of water. I came home and it turns out you could literally see sewage coming out of it and seeping into the basement. We toweled off the best we could, but it got the carpet, damaged some of the walls. It's kind of a nightmare. It filled up the basement and the crawl space up to almost the stairs. And I cut out here
You're
because...
talking 6-8 inches of water.
Yeah.
Until it went out the back door.
Almost.
Well, the inspector's off the hook on this one. It's not like he's got a snake camera. He's gonna go through the drains. I've seen enough. I'm gonna go get my tools. I'm gonna go through this whole place. I'm gonna put together a report about all the things that you probably don't know about and some of the things you do, and definitely a lot of things the home inspector did not show.
This house has been creating this big gap between my girlfriend at the time and I. I was hoping that if I applied for this show, it'd give us an opportunity to live in a house we actually are happy with. Instead, it didn't happen quick enough. I feel far better with Mike's inspection because even in the short time that he walked around my house, he was able to find more things wrong that was missed by the original inspector when he was here for 3 hours.
Imagine a home inspector coming in with a camera and totally missing the black on the wall. That's mold. Now, I don't know if that's just the surface mold. Paper is actually disrupted too much. Now, I don't see really too much evidence that it's coming from up above, and let's remember something. The bathroom's on the other side of this. Is there a possibility it's coming from the toilet? That's a good question. Now, all the signs are here that it was really cold upstairs because the builder would not drywall the front, nor would they insulate the front. That is an outside of the home and nothing to do with the inside. And because it's closed off now and there's no vents on the roof, if you think it's hot in here right now, you can imagine that attic space that has no breathability. Not a good sign. Should have been in the report. No garage door closer. Go figure. That's right in front of my eyes. All garages need a door closer on the door. Think about it. Your car's running, you're gonna off gas inside the house. These are things that are standard that most home inspectors are gonna find. And when they miss the obvious problems, I have a little worry already. Now, in the report I read, windows are pretty old, need to be painted, caulked, and it would probably be wiser to do that than replace them. That was really bad advice for the home inspector to tell a potential home buyer. You know, just paint your windows, do some caulking. It's cheaper than replacing them. You'll save money in the long run by putting in efficient windows. Well, now that the air conditioning is back on, we can even see just the cool air coming out. It even tells me the temperature if I look down at the floor. Look at how blue that is. Nice and blue, eh? The temperature coming out of there is 19 degrees Celsius. Shows it's doing its job, doesn't it? Every home inspector should have one. 31.5 degrees. I go into the closet. Bam. Ooh, huge difference. Superheat. Okay, that's at the door, which kind of tells me, and you can even see that, how hot that is. See the yellow? At this point, I will be going into that attic, that's for sure. Now, I understand why a lot of home inspectors don't move furniture, they don't touch tiles, because they don't want to do damage. And you break something, you got to pay for it. The truth is, we need to see, because we can see what could be up there. Let's just take a look. You know, look at the floor joist. I can put that one back. Whoever was in here before smoked a lot. Look at this. You can see the white clearly on the edge. This is not paint. This is a little bit of tobacco. Now, not the smartest door. What is in behind that door? What does the furnace need? Air, hot water tank, gas. So we have a flame here, we have a flame here. If we have two doors that seal off and it doesn't have enough air, it's gonna shut the flame out. No good. This room needs to breathe. Very important. Whether it's a hole in the bottom of the door or the door is kept open, it needs to breathe. There's that dryer exhaust vent that Dan himself has capped off. It should be completely removed. If there's any way of letting those gases come in, they're gonna come in. It's the only house on the street that did not put up soffit, metal soffit over top of the wood. And probably the smartest, because I can tell by looking at that, they just went over it, and I'll bet you anything they didn't drill any holes. Things I'm used to seeing. I have one vent up in the upper bedroom and one vent here in the front above the door. So no venting, one vent here, and total signs of that soffit being so wet. More than likely it's ice dam issues. And I'm positive the same problem exists out here in the back. And when we have ice dams, that means a few things. That means we have improper or insufficient insulation in the attic. The hot air is escaping into the attic. It's melting the snow at the roof. Water comes down to the eaves, and that section is a cold zone. It will freeze quickly, work its way back up underneath the shingles, and get into the soffit and/or house. That's what we call an ice dam. So something tells me if I ask them the question, does all your neighbors have icicles hanging down? The answer is probably yes. See, not only did they do brick sills the wrong way, they've laid them flat and not on their ends. If you're gonna do bricks, they must be on this angle, not this way. If we look up, we can see the holes of the bricks. They're supposed to use solid bricks if they do this. And if there's a crack in the mortar, guess where the water goes? Inside your home. Dan ran this exhaust dryer run. We already have lint buildup. We need to pay attention to that. We block that, we can cause fires. This is one of those houses that remind me of a can of worms. And I'm in the garden.
Oh, does that ever stink? Wow.
You think you hired the right home inspector?
I just went with what the real estate agent suggested. I just didn't know any better, to be honest.
Man, why don't we always learn from our own mistakes? How's your forehead? Does it hurt?
A little bit.
It's just from banging it?
Yeah.
You didn't cut the grass?
No. Looks like we need some gardening.
He's freezing cold. We have water issues. We have electrical issues. We have drain issues. We have issues. Look at the mold growing.
Yeah, it's funny, eh? Like, I can't figure it out. There's no moisture on the walls at all, except for just at the last 4 feet.
We have no problems here. We're getting softer as we go down, and then really soft. Let's take a look at this. Just want to see.
That is really wet, isn't it? Oh, look at that.
It's really black on the other side. See it?
Okay. And that is just falling apart. There's a lot of moisture here, bud.
At this point here, I know the toilet's on the other side, and it was either somebody washing the wall, spraying it, or there was a leak in the bathroom and it just wicked its way back up, because it's always going to travel from wet to dry, right? And if it's dry up, it'll travel up. Is it coming from the roof line? And I really don't see any indication of that, but if it's a clear run downhill where the water's just coming down, because on this side I have an awful lot as well. We'll know more as we take it down.
Look at that. Oh, geez.
It's just the bottom.
And look at that. Nails rusting.
There's definitely wet zones in here.
Yeah.
On the wood.
I see nothing underneath, though, eh? No staining on the floorboards underneath here.
Strange way of doing it.
Yeah.
So rather than taking the foundation, they built the jut out into the garage for the bathroom and the closet. Not wet there.
It's definitely feeling stronger down this way.
Okay, everybody's clear to go ahead and open it up. So let's get them to come in and drop all this. I want this, we'll close the door and I want this all down. Sherry, what do we see here? What am I looking at?
Filthy insulation.
Why?
Airflow.
Correct. So that's filtering the air. This filters the air, so you're not going to breathe the dirty stuff. The filter goes here. So the insulation is acting as a filter, and that's why it's dirty. Bat insulation, and I don't like it, should fit loosely. So it should fit just snug in place. Don't bend it, don't crank it, nice and loosely. And whenever we do insulation, you see it just looks like carpet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't look like carpet. It looks like mountains, actually. You see the ends here? All that does is allow air movement through the ends. You see that black spot right there?
Yeah.
The air's coming through it instead of being resistant, which is our value, on the outside of the insulation. So you're gonna go ahead and do what?
Take it all down.
I love you. Danny leaned against the window and he fell right inside. I mean, they're a piece of crap, right? We know that. It's as old as the house. And he's talking about how cold it is in the bedroom, for one, how cold it is in the house, how hot it is in the summer. So there's no performance on those windows.
None at all. There's no weather stripping whatsoever. That's just glass in a track.
Here's the advice he gets from the home inspector. It's cheaper and smarter to put up new caulking and paint the windows. I say change the windows.
Okay, here we have a builder grade wood frame window, very builder attitude, plug up the hole and that's it. Air leakage enormous. They have punch it at the bottom if you see a lot of holes there just to let the water out. That's how bad it is. Just put a lot of holes in, so if it rains, water gets out. But also means a lot of air is getting in, so not energy efficient whatsoever. We're going to replace this with what we call brick-to-brick full replacement window system.
Oh, right there.
Vinyl, maintenance-free, very energy efficient, Energy Star certified, and the homeowner will be very happy with it.
And performance is 10 times better?
I'd say more than 10 times.
That's good math. I like that. Thank you.
No problem, Mike.
I see all kinds of really dirty insulation, which tells me we have a lot of air leakage. You can see it in spots everywhere. No insulation whatsoever across this wall here. And then this wall here is another bedroom where it steps up to the next level, so it's like a back split. The problem being is that's going to be extremely cold. The funny thing about it, this is the front of the house, and he says this room is cold. Everything up here is going to be cold. The inspector should have caught that.
Okay.
Hey, holy cow, you okay?
Yes. Be careful with that.
Oh, man, watch it. Your back might break. You better get some backup.
Well, this is an outside zone, so what we want to do is spray foam this. This is a closet above, and we know that the closet is absolutely freezing. Well, if it's anything like the insulation that was done in there, it's probably the exact same here. So when I spray foam the garage, it makes sense. Spray foam right in through here, get every outside zone as warm as possible. Scalpel. Oh, does that ever stink? Wow. Either that's a lot of animals or it's a lot of moisture rotting something in there. Ooh. Oh, geez, what a mess. I'm just trying not to let anything touch me. Well, you can see here that the mice have gotten in here and just created complete havoc. Not much R value left in that thing. They're ripping at the insulation, they're pulling it apart, they're breaking down the actual R value. I mean, the insulation wasn't done very well anyway, but looks like the mice had an access point through the garage to actually get up in here to the warm side, because that is the inside of the house. That's the floor. Oh, they just tore this to shreds. Wow. Mouse Hotel, boys. It might not be too bad. I don't see signs of it in the house. I mean, he does have 2 cats here. Doesn't look like they're actually doing their jobs. As Carl says, he thinks they're vegetarians, so. Mice are always gonna be a problem at some point. You have a house, they have access points in, they're gonna wanna get into your house in the winter months to stay warm. But if they really get into your house, they can cause electrical issues, which you really don't want. They can cause insulation issues. They can actually do damage to your home. They can end up costing you a lot of money. What happens when you eat through your insulation? Cold areas in your house. That's what's happening.
That's a really terrible smell, isn't it? Unfortunately, to do with a sewage backup, you're going to have the urine, you're going to have the feces. It's really not going to mix well with the fibers in the carpet, and I'm really smelling it. So we're going to lose this carpet, and we're going to give you new carpet, and it's going to smell nice when we're done.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Now that we have the garage opened up, it gives us a better picture of what's going on here. I mean, look at this. They've used the wall cavity as a return air duct to feed the furnace. Here's my whole subject about using the inside of your home as an air return. Look at all the crap in there.
And you're breathing that in every single day.
Not to mention having this open cavity can draw the off-gassing from a vehicle right through the furnace throughout the house. We do see that we had ice dams issue, right? That's for sure. That's why we have the moisture in there. What I don't like is they didn't close off from this house to her house and a fire stop. So remember, the insulation that had the biggest amount of black was right in the center here, right?
Right.
What's there right now?
The vent.
Yeah. So it was pulling the air through the floor register around the pipe. That's why it was so dark there. And I don't really see too many signs of moisture coming in here. So I don't think it has anything to do with the water here. I think the toilet was leaking. The other thing is somebody's used the hose. The previous homeowner probably put some plants here. And I think she wanted them here, and I think she soaked the walls. So it's one of the two and or both. Grew a lot of black, just enough that we could do it ourselves and not call anybody else in.
This is some of the drywall we took off the ceiling now. Again,
here's what I love about this. You're seeing dripping marks. So these are all dripping marks that just dripped with a little bit of water because this is all so dirty, right? It's just gonna pick it up, and it's showing the drips, but this became a puddle.
So the ice dam built up, you're thinking, got to the warm air, started melting it, drip, drip, drip.
That's what I think.
Okay.
And it's probably not gonna help it that there is no ventilation whatsoever in there. So we need Steve to come in, look at the roof and all the vents, escapes, and we need him to also look at how we're gonna vent this.
Well, we have the same issue on the rear of the home. We have plywood soffit, under-ventilated soffit. We're gonna create larger openings and cover the plywood with some new aluminum vented panels.
Well, it looks like they put in a new panel, eh?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Frank, that one's dead. And this one's dead too, Frank.
What have you found so far?
Well, next to this little bit of sloppy workmanship, I haven't checked the pot lights yet. I haven't found any overloaded circuits. So I do want, because of the sloppiness that I found, I'm gonna open up all the receptacles. I'm gonna make sure that everything's nice and tight. We are allowed to have junction boxes underneath here, as long as they're covered. So the only problem with this is that it's not stapled. The whole reason that we've got the jack chain holding the pot light there, they've actually done a good job from not having the pot light coming crashing down on you. So you want to make sure that they're jack chains, so they stay in place and they're safe. So they did that part right. This is loose, it's not even attached. Those conductors right now are open to being hit by anything. We need to fix that. No glue whatsoever. And no glue, no glue.
Well, what we had to do here was we had to get Hydro to come in and disconnect the power. This LB was loose. So I had to basically take it all apart, glue it all up, install it again. And I'm actually installing my last piece of wire here. And as soon as I get this hooked up, I'm calling Hydro so they can come turn the power back on.
Couple little things I'm seeing right off the bat. Very sloppy job, a lot of air leakage. See, what this does is it blows smoke, you can see. All the air leakage you got here, all the smoke blowing out. And this is just in the furnace area. See, like the return air itself, you'll see it draw it in. So a lot of air leakage in around this furnace. Okay, we found a return air on the second floor that was having an issue with not drawing enough air. And there's just a large cavity that was drywalled in the front here. We removed the drywall. Problem is, this void is just too big. You got a lot of air leakage that the cavities, you know, they nail in the wood, a lot of air leakage in between. A furnace can only deliver as much air as it's supplied. Since we're not getting much air from the second floor return, it's causing poor circulation up in those floors. This being a cold garage, no insulation on this wall. One, it's taking the cold right through into that return. I've noticed right here through the brickwork, this is open from the garage into this return. If they park this car in the garage and they have it started wintertime, it's gonna suck the fumes from the car into this opening and draw it back throughout the whole house. So this is an issue, we have to address it. At this point, it's just running a ductwork from here all the way up to the joist cavities above and running it all up to tie in our return. Once they spray foam around this, it'll be insulated, and we'll be drawing actually just from the cavity up on the second floor.
So you scope the drain.
Yeah, obviously clear signs of a sewer backup. This thing's been going on for obviously a number of years. Blockage was created, and then the homeowner discovered a backup.
So why did this back up?
It was blocked. The line outside on the city side has been upgraded. Some work has been done to it. What we see in the basement is the original clay pipe. What I see is approximately 25 feet from here, I'm getting into a dip. So I don't have any sort of physical obstructions. What I'm getting is just a sludge buildup. And if there's any leak coming from the clay pipe or the joints, the soil gets saturated and then it just becomes unstable, so the pipe may lose that right slope.
Well, I'm going to recommend a backflow preventer, and I'm also going to recommend we kick out the downspout.
Well, we know Dan had a problem when he had a backup in his basement. We know that it was on the city side. The city side allowed sewage, raw sewage, to actually back up into Dan's basement. So what we have to do is dig down and find the connection to the city side. What we're gonna get Martin to do is install a back water valve right here so we never have any issues from the city side backing back in here.
All right, we got this thing all excavated and exposed. We found some surprises. It was actually a leak from a sanitary line caused by pretty much a little bit of a tree roots as well as a poor connection between the plastic and the clay pipe. So it's actually a good thing that we dug up here. We will be able to rectify that. But the main reason is to install the back water valve. This device will protect the house from any backups that could happen from the outside of the house.
During Mike's inspection, he found some problems with the gas line feeding the fireplace in the basement. They actually did a couple bad things here. They went from one size pipe to another, from bigger to smaller. A lot of the line was touched up against the duct, copper touching metal, not a good thing. So we're just gonna replace this gas line. We're gonna run a solid line through, make sure it's coated. So we're just gonna replace this whole copper line.
Well, we replaced the front eaves trough. across this lower roof, basically for one main reason. Both the neighbor's home and the home we're working on, the downpipes went into an old clay weeping tile. So we've redirected the downpipe to the middle. It's going to drain out down between the driveways, basically to eliminate any drainage issues or a wet basement situation.
Our air volume, our CFMs, is reading it's anywhere between 480 and 485. My temperature is actually high. I'm in at about 25.4 degrees Celsius. So once we start sealing up that ductwork, sealing up our supplies, sealing up our return, I want to increase our air volume, our CFMs, and I'm hoping to drop my temperature. Right now I got a lot of air, just my temperature is really high. So we're going to try to improve on that.
Nope, that's not the light stuff. Ugh. This is gonna take a while. Come back tomorrow. Hi. I wouldn't want to be having a beer down there when the exhaust was running on his bike. We're getting a new garage door today. If the door was falling apart, if we're going to this length of actually warming up this area, spray foaming it, prepping it, I want to give them a new door. Dan did call us about a lot of problems with this house, one of them being that he had a cold room. This is Dan's bedroom right above the garage. He was freezing. We always know what it is. It's a lack of insulation or improper insulation. This is why we spray foam garages, and Dan will no longer be cold. It also gives us a barrier between the carbon monoxide in the house. It's a closed cell foam. We had issues with the jut out of the bathroom. They did cantilever this. We don't see this often, but we had to take care of it, meaning we had to insulate underneath the cantilever and come up around the plate is what we have to do to make sure Dan is warm.
The existing trough here is in great shape. With the large mature trees around, we got to install the smart screen. It's going to give it some extra added strength. It's going to keep all the debris, all the leaves out of it, and they're not going to have any more problems.
This is a new type of underpad. It is called EcoFoam. It's especially designed for basements because it is waterproof and it's also breathable. So in case you have a leak or anything on the basement, this underpad won't suck the water at all, so it will stay under the concrete. It will dry out eventually.
Whenever you have a continuous attic, meaning from one neighbor's side to the next, you want to put up what's called a firewall. That's what we have here. It stops the fire from leaping from one garage to the next until help arrives. And we're good.
I'm doing one last piece of a plumbing job here. I'm replacing a hose bib which was in the garage. Old standard hose bib. I'm installing a frost-free unit, which gives me a peace of mind that in the winter, if the temperature drops, if the garage, for instance, stays open for an extensive period of time, I'm not going to run into a risk of that line bursting if it freezes. So frost-free hose bib, and then bring it reconnected to the rest of the system, and I'll be done.
At the beginning, we had Gary come in, do a CFM test, cubic feet per minute, so we're looking for velocity and airflow. He tested this specific register. He had 480 on the CFMs, and he had a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. So since then, we have insulated underneath, completely re-drywalled, and he has taped all the main trunk downstairs so we don't have any air leakage. So what I'm doing is I'm just gonna run my tester over top of it to see the difference. 671. Look at the temperature, 17.8. So that's about a 30% improvement to the temperature and about 40% more airflow. That's a huge difference. The furnace no longer has to work as hard to cool or even heat this house. Man, that's money in the bank. Little tools all home inspectors should have, let me tell you.
I'm sure when Mike's through, it's going to be a safe and clean home. I'm going to be able to breathe clean air. I'm not going to have to worry about a sewage backup, which is going to ruin the air again. And I'll be happy to actually live here instead of just dealing with one problem after the other. Maybe have a social life again. That'll be nice.
So it is our last day, and the guys did a fantastic job of prepping this for me. So it's there. We have Frank coming in to hang some lights, do some switch plates, but it's the kiss of death, but I'm gonna say it, maybe an early day.
Dan the man.
Mike. Damon, thanks,
Nice to
guys.
see you. You got a new door. This is a thermal broken door. The reason we want to do a thermal door is to stop that major cold air from coming in and affecting the ceiling. You have a nice little keypad here, so it's great remote control. And on the outside, we had Steve Graves come in. You have all new soffit throughout your whole house because we want to make sure we ventilate your attic space.
Holy cow. Looks amazing.
Well, this was completely gutted. You remember what it looked like before, right? It was opened right up. We made sure we had a firewall between you and your neighbor. This wall here, everything's solved. Studded down to the floor, insulated completely underneath, filling that void and then coming up the wall. We fixed your neighbor's wall as well, and we fixed the east troughs and downspouts at the front of the house for you and your neighbor.
That's awfully kind.
We had the brick wall here, then we had a studded wall. So they spray foamed all of that all the way up, sealed off everything else of all the problems that we had of gases coming in your house. All this new drywall here is mold resistant because it's what we use. And it looks good, eh?
It does look, it looks fantastic. Mike's come in and completely redid the entire garage, way beyond my expectations. It looks fantastic. It feels fantastic and warm in there. Now that everything's sealed from the garage, I'm not going to have any of that carbon monoxide coming in anymore. It's just going to be nice, clean air throughout the house. Not bad.
Now take a deep breath.
Smells clean.
It's because you have new carpet. We pulled out your moldy, musty, kind of wet carpet. New carpet and rail on the stairs, which is provided by minimum code and courtesy of Damon, Bennett, and the rest of the crew putting it in.
Thank you, sir.
Just
No
putting it with
problem.
you. New trim, new doors. We want to make sure we do louver doors, right? So these are actually quite wide doors, both here and in that location over there. I'll just open this one for a second so we can talk about this. If you were to look in, and go ahead, you can.
Looks like the floor has been dug up.
Dug up, let me see. That was minor jackhammering, pull the concrete. By digging all that, throwing in a backflow preventer, new piping, what this is going to do is save any issues of a backflow coming back in again.
That's fantastic.
It kind of saves the carpet, we do. I like what Gary did. He first did an air test with CFM, the little toys that we have, the meters. He did his smoke test around the furnace, major bleeding of air coming off your furnace and the main trunk line. Since then, we have taped everything up, siliconed the furnace. By doing all this, what you're actually going to do is now use your furnace at full efficiency. You're going to save money, have more airflow. You're going to be cooler in the summer and hotter in the winter.
I'm feeling much cooler right now in this house. That's making me feel pretty good. With the air conditioning on, which isn't even running right now, and it's just steady temperature. I can tell you before, that air conditioner never turned off.
Now, something I like.
Wow.
Something safe and secure. Now, we did not. Isn't that pretty good?
It's beautiful.
Remember the other one?
Yeah, the one that was falling off every time you went to put your hand on it.
If you look in the back, what do you see?
I see 2 giant new windows and a painted wall.
The inspector said that if you just do a quick paint touch-up and some caulking, you're gonna save money more on putting in new windows. Here's why I'm gonna disagree. With the thermal pane glass and an airtight window that performs better than your older windows, once again, your furnace is gonna run less. So we're trying to save you money here. I think we're doing pretty good. Oh, they almost look bigger, right?
They do.
I don't know why, but when I came in, I said, did we make them bigger? And I know we didn't.
Well, for one, you can see through them and they're crystal clear.
Maybe that's it. Now, you remember we talked about your closet in your bedroom, right? Now, your closet was hot when it was not supposed to be, and cold when it was, because you actually had frozen clothes in there.
I did.
Okay. Remember, I told you we were going to take down the soffit outside the door. So we insulate the floor. That was your main impact. Plus, we had a direct line from the peak over top of the garage. That peak, that attic space over top of the garage was bleeding cold air right into that cavity. So by buttering that and actually stopping that cold air from coming underneath, you're not going to freeze in that closet anymore. Now, it wasn't just the problem of that floor underneath the closet, but it was in your room is where we have the back split. So we have a wall that meets really the third floor, but it's the second floor of the back split. Here's your bedroom. This wall had no insulation. And had the inspector gone up and actually not just stuck his camera up and taken a picture and took a look, he would have realized all insulation that was there had fallen out, and there was even areas there wasn't insulation. So not only did you not have enough insulation, you had problems with the insulation and you had problems with the venting. So we made sure that Alex and his boys came in. All those walls are spray foamed. We've added more cellulose blown-in insulation. So once again, putting that big thick blanket on the bed, which is in your attic, is now going to hold the cool and hold the heat.
Can't wait to try it out. You know, put on the air conditioning a bit higher and see if I can freeze. Amazing, the difference upstairs now compared to what it was after Mike has properly insulated the walls and fixed the ventilation. It's much nicer in those rooms. Definitely something I can live in now instead of, well, boil in the summer and freeze in the winter.
Now, how much do you think this all cost, what we did?
Easily above $50,000.
Wow, you're right on the money. 50 grand. So that's my present to you. It was your birthday, wasn't it?
It was the beginning of the year.
Well, it's your birthday anyways, Dan.
Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure meeting you. Do you have any questions before we go?
Thank you. No, I honestly don't. I'm just thrilled to come home and, you know, see everything is just fantastic. I can't wait to just live at my house again.
Oh, yeah. Happy days.
Thank you guys for an amazing job, and cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Good job, guys. Good job.
Thank you.
Oh my God, it's a spider!
Hey, little guy. I really can't hear you well with that one. What? I'm sorry? What? Sorry.